Hi, it's Morgan. Welcome to my video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this little thingy. So it kind of just looks like a little nubby, but it's actually to go on a headset for if you have a job that you work with a headset on in a call center, or just have a headset on for whatever reason that has like the earpiece. You got it like mouthpiece and it's got wrapped over, and it doesn't have an earpiece on this side. It's just got this little thing that sits here to keep it on your head. Well, that's not always comfortable, or it might be messing with your hair or getting stuck, and it's just not really a very comfortable thing. And that's what this is for. This little thing here is to cover that, to prevent it from irritating you or messing with your hair. My cousin gave me the idea for this, and it's a super nifty idea, and thought others might find it helpful. And it was a really quick, easy crochet project to make. If you know beginner crochet skills, then this will be super simple for you. This took me maybe 15 minutes to make. I'm not the fastest, but yeah, it's super quick, easy, practical, and all you need is just a tiny bit of yarn. Here we go. Let's go on to how do we plan and figure out how we're gonna make this. So you're gonna need yarn. I have this yarn here that I hand spun. I made this a couple years ago out of some unknown fiber. I made a tag for it. It's just a mystery wool. I think I got it for free. The lady I bought my spinning wool off of, she included some stuff. So this was included in there. It's kind of an ombre, pink to purple. And I applied it with this metallic thread that you can kind of see glisten through in there. And I haven't used it in anything yet, so I'm interested to see how this plays out. You need yarn. You don't need this much yarn. This is a lot. You don't need much yarn at all if you have scraps, whatever. That'll be fine. Next, you need a crochet hook. I have a size G 7, and it's a 4.5 millimeter, but that's what I'm just using because we recently moved and it's like one of 3 hooks that I can find. So this is what we're using. But if you have anything that's around a size G, I would say like an H is probably good, but like it really doesn't matter. And then we also need a measuring tape. I have this cute little sheep measuring tape. You pull this little tail. We need this to keep track of our rows, and if we need to add more rows or whatever, because this is really specific to your own headset or whatever. So that is the next thing you will need. You will need the dimensions for your project. This is a picture of my cousin's headset that I'm making it for, and I made a little drawing. I made this little diagram to help me visually see what I was making. So we've got 5.5 centimeters by 2 centimeters, and then it's got a dimension of just 0.5 centimeter. So I'm going to take that, and I made another little diagram. So I used my diagram to make this other diagram to help me figure out what my pattern was going to be. This line down the center is my chain, and I'm just going to use single crochets and decreases. It's super simple. I want my piece to be 2 centimeters total this way. I want 1 centimeter on either side of my chain. So I'm kind of just guessing that I'm going to also be adding 1 centimeter to the ends. So I want my chain to reflect that. So instead of making a 5.5 centimeter chain, I'm going to make a 3.5 centimeter chain. And then I'm going to go around that chain with single crochets, and that's pretty much it. So it will apply to your own specific needs. But for mine, I'm going to chain 3.5 centimeters, and then I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. That's pretty standard. And then I'm going to single crochet all the way to the end, and in that last chain, I'm going to crochet 3 all into the same stitch to help me turn that corner. And then I'm going to single crochet all the way back to where I started, and in the last stitch you're going to single crochet 3 into that, and then I would place a marker here or a scrap piece of yarn to keep track of where you're at. From there I have to start on the second round to single crochet in every stitch until you get to the one that's at the very end down here, and you're going to single crochet 3 into that, and then you're gonna continue single crocheting all the way till you get to this side, single crochet into the one on the end 3 times, and then you'll be at the beginning of your round where your stitch marker's at. And for me, that was enough for getting to my width and length that I needed, so it was time to add the dimension. So I single crocheted all the way around to not add any more length or width, just add depth. And then I did that all the way around till I got back to the beginning of the round. Then it was to the depth that I needed. I just needed 1/2 centimeter, so it wasn't very much. But I wanted it to like kind of wrap around the edges of the headpiece. So I wanted to add a couple decreases in there. So I went in with my last round, number 4, and I decreased on the long edges. So I decreased once on this side and then once along this side, and it kind of is what created this cave, like domey effect, I suppose. But that is the general gist of how I created this little pattern to fit my specific needs. Hopefully that was helpful for you to apply to your own dimensions. If you need more clarifications, please feel free, comment below, and I will try my best to help you out. Now we're on to the fun part. We're gonna make it. Woo! Okay, so the first step for making it, at least for me, is making this usable. I gotta wind this up into a form that I can use. So let's go do that. Look at how pretty it came out. Now you can really see the ombre effect. Okay, so I'm actually going to double up my strands. So I'm going to put one from the middle and one from the outside. It's a unique advantage to having it caked like this. And I'm using this cute little yarn bowl that my thoughtful brother-in-law got me a couple Christmases ago. And it's very helpful for doing this and not rolling this everywhere. So let's get started. So I'm going to hold these two together, and it probably gives me about a worsted weight yarn when holding them together for reference. So I'm going to start with my slip knot, and then I'm going to chain a few and then give it a measure. Alright, so now I've got 6 chains here, and I'm going to pull out my handy dandy sheep and measure this. And I'm doing my project in centimeters just because I find it most helpful. And I've got about 4 centimeters here, so I'm going to take one of these out. Hold that. And I'm going to measure again. Now it's at 3.5 centimeters, but you know what? I think I'm actually going to put that extra one back in since I'm going to be going into the second chain from the hook to start. So for me to get to where I needed was just over 3.5 centimeters. I got 6 chains here. So I'm going to go into the second chain from the hook, and I will put this in captions right here so you can follow along and read. So I'm going to go in every single one. Alright, so this is the last stitch or the last chain of the row. So I did 1, I'm going to go again, 2, 3, and then I am going to rotate it because we're going in the round, we're not going to turn, and I'm going to find my next chain, which is here, and single crochet my way back to the beginning. And this doesn't have to be perfect, this is more for practical uses, and nobody's going to be up close trying to figure out what's going on with your earpiece. And so now I'm at the end of this. So I'm going to go 3 into this end stitch right here. It's at the very end where we're going to turn. So I'm going to do 3 single crochets into there. And then now we're ready to place our stitch marker. I've got this little witch's hat stitch marker, super cute. So this is just to help us remember where we started. If you don't have a stitch marker, that's totally fine. You can use a paper clip or a safety pin if you have that, or just scrap yarn. So I'm gonna put it through the stitch that I just did, the last of those 3. This is my second round, and I'm going to single crochet all the way across. Actually, let's measure it to see where we're at. We're like a little under 2 centimeters here. We want it to be a little bit on the bigger side since it's a cover. We don't want it to be too tight. And we're at 4.5 this way. So let's move on. And we're going to single crochet all the way across till we get to that end stitch. Let's see, that is the end stitch that I'm about to go into right here. So I'm going to go 3 single crochets, and that just again helps turn at the ends. Alright, now we're just going to continue with our single crochets back to the other end. Okay, so now we're at this end stitch here. We're going to do 3 single crochets into that. And then we are going to single crochet where that stitch marker was. Now that looks good to measure it. We've now got about 5.5, almost 6 centimeters that way, and we've got about 2.5 this way, which is great, so we don't need to add any more length or width. So now what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet all the way around, 1 in each stitch. We're not going to do any extra in the edges. I'm going to replace that so I know where the beginning's at. Alright, so single crochet all the way around. Okay, now we're back to the beginning of the round. I'm going to single crochet to about the middle of this side here, and I'm going to do a decrease. And this is my last row, so I'm going to remove the stitch marker and not put it back. So I'm going to do a couple stitches, a couple single crochets. And then here somewhere along the middle, I'm going to do a decrease. I'm going to continue around. Okay, now we're near the middle along the other long side, and we're going to do another decrease here. And then I'm going to single crochet all the way back around to the long end here and go a stitch or two past this end. And then now would be a good time to put it on your actual headset piece and make sure it fits. I do not have that, so I'm going to hope that the dimensions I had met those, and really all you need is the dimensions. You don't really need the actual headset in front of you to do this, but it is helpful at this stage to kind of give it a test for maybe some peace of mind. We're all done with it. I'm going to do one more stitch or two because that feels, there we go. And now to finish it, I'm going to do a slip stitch, which is just like that. And then I'm going to snip my yarn long enough for me to weave in the ends and pull that through. And then I now have 2 of these, and they were both made using the same method. And as you can see, they came out pretty close in size. Again, the stitching doesn't have to be perfect for this little project. But I'm going to go weave in the ends, and I will see you in a minute. All right, the final project. So I hope you found this helpful and easy to follow. This was my first time filming any kind of tutorial type thing like this. So if you have any suggestions that might be helpful for me in the future to make it clear to you what I'm trying to say, please drop that down below and let me know if you give this a try. Yeah, super simple, super easy. And I just followed the same formula. These are 2 different yarns and I used the same hook. But yeah, these are cute and they're ready to be sent off to their new home. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to keep up with whatever we make here in the future. I also have a video that talks about getting stuff done with chronic pain that I will link somewhere right here for you to go check out. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!